Welcome to another edition of Living Legacies. This is Tom Morrow, and today we have an old friend that we're visiting with, Claud Phillips. Claud is a long-time Oceanside resident, businessman, and before that he was a career Marine and World War II and Korean War veteran. Welcome to the show, Claud.
Thank you. Welcome.
Well, now you're what we'd say a good old boy. You come from the hills of the mountains of North Carolina. You were born and raised there. What year?
I was born in 1921, very young, and
you were born very young.
Yes.
Okay.
So I grew up there till I was about 17 years old. And
now, where in North Carolina?
just outside of Asheville, in a small town. In fact, it was so small I want to say that.
It's one of those where
those
the enter
guys.
and leaving sign is on the same post.
That's right.
I grew up in one of those places.
Yeah.
I understand. Well, now, what was it like growing up in rural North Carolina?
Well, it was okay. We had a farm, and we had plenty to eat.
Mm-hmm.
We had raised all kind of cattle, and that's what we had plenty to eat during the Depression. But things got kind of tough down toward in the 30s.
Well, my dad, who was your contemporary, and he lived through the Great Depression, he used to say that we always had plenty to eat, we just didn't have any money. You couldn't go out and buy things, you know.
And, you know, one of my memories is one year we had tobacco was the money crop.
Cash crop, yeah.
Cash crop, yes. So one year after we paid all the fertilizer bills and the seed bills and all that, my dad poured 75 cents out on the table, and that was a year's work.
Oh my goodness.
So that's all we had to buy clothes with that year. So,
but you were able to keep eating all the way through. And,
oh yes, sure.
and of course, as a young lad, they give you something to do, right?
Oh yes.
Kept you out of trouble.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, you joined the service. You joined the Marine Corps when?
1941, September the 9th.
September the 9th.
Yes.
To about 3 months before Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
And what caused you to join the Marine Corps?
Well, I got my draft notice, and I wanted to dodge the draft, so I joined the Marines.
So you're a draft dodger then?
Yes, that's right. In fact, I got a letter from Uncle Sam when I was in Guam in combat, said, if you don't report to your draft board, we're going to come and get you.
You were kind of hoping he would, huh?
Yeah.
What, now, where did you take basic training?
Paris Island.
Paris Island, South Carolina?
South Carolina.
Now, you went up the ranks pretty fast. By December 7th, what were you?
I was a corporal.
How did you make it so fast?
I don't know. I was a squad leader in my platoon leader.
Uh-huh.
You know, led the out front.
Right.
Stepped in the hole first, and all that stuff. Anyway, I went up pretty fast because I had good recommendations, and I kept my mouth shut.
Now you started out in the infantry and then
Yes.
ended up as a cook.
Yeah. Well, when I got tired of carrying chop rods and stuff over hills and stuff, so I figured if I got in there, I probably could do more good there than I could for what I was doing. So.
Now, had you had any experience as a cook?
No.
This is something you just.
I worked as in a restaurant on the weekends when I was just before the war,
Mm-hmm.
and I would work behind the counters to get a little extra money I worked on the weekends, and also you see the nice girls come in there.
Yeah. Well, so how long did it take them to send you overseas?
We went to Camp Lejeune for training, formed the 3rd Marine Division,
Mm-hmm.
and we went from that we went, I don't remember just how long it was, but not very long, until we were aboard ship and we headed for the Pacific.
And what was your first stop?
American Samoa.
But I mean, where the fighting was, where the shooting was.
Well, we come through Guadalcanal. They just about had it secured when we got there, and but our first major contact with the enemy was in Bougainville. Don't hear much about it, but it was a tough campaign.
Well, what you have told me the story several times that I always thought was kind of funny. That in the service at that time, the troops were being converted over from the old 303 rifle to the it was an old Springfield, right?
The old Springfield deer rifle, and it had
5 shots.
5 rounds, and you had to do the both things.
Yeah.
So they came out with the M1.
And that was an 8-shot.
8-shot round. So what the Marines would do, they would go ahead and fire 5 rounds and then wait. Well, the Japanese would stick their head up.
Because the Japanese were expecting
That's right.
you to have to reload at 5 rounds.
That's right.
And that was you had to jump on them for a while on that.
That's right.
Well, now you had said that you got your unit got the M1s from the Seabees when they came over.
No, I don't remember just how we got them. They replaced them. I don't remember exactly when we got the M1s, but we got them before Bougainville.
Well, how many campaigns were you in? And
I was in Bougainville and Guam.
It was a total of 47 months.
Yes.
That's a long time to be away from home.
Yeah.
No leaves or anything in those days.
None. Well, we went to New Zealand for about 60 days, I think. We stopped off in New Zealand and regrouped after Bougainville. Very nice place.
Yeah. Have you ever been back since?
No.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Oh, I was down there about 20 years ago. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
Just a wonderful place. Well, so World War II has come to an end, and did you have any hesitation about staying in the Marine Corps, or was that something that you decided that you wanted to do?
Well, I worked for R.J. Reynolds for a short time before I went into service, and when I went back, I got out of the Marines right after the war, and I went back to North Carolina, and they put me to work in the stemmery. And
What is a stemmery?
That's where they take the stems out of the tobacco. Now, I had 100 women working for me and 6 men, and they had a superintendent over the whole thing. And naturally, being a new boy on the block, I got the graveyard shift. So every night, this superintendent would come by and take one of my girls and take her out and leave me one short. So being a Marine, I just took her card and punched it. Well, that didn't go over so big.
You were a by the book man.
That's right. So I thought about that a little while, and we had 90 days to go back in the Marines at your rank, whatever you were. And
what did you get out as?
Staff sergeant. And I could go back in at my rank, and I thought about it really seriously. I said, if I really work hard, in 10 years, I can be doing the same thing. This guy is back in the corner there.
Yeah.
So I said, hell with it. So I went back to the Marines, and I'm glad I did.
Now, we've got a picture of you here probably in the mid-50s. That's you on the right. And this is a buddy that, a fellow sergeant, and this was taken over in probably Okinawa?
Yes, Okinawa.
But that was long after the fighting was over.
Oh, yeah.
Before that, you got, when you went back into the Marine Corps in what is 46, 47?
I think so.
Yeah, well, then it wasn't too long before things started heating up again with the Korean War. That happened in 1950, but you met somebody that was a big part of your life before you had to go to Korea.
First, when I come back from the war, I went to Quantico and then went back to Camp Pendleton, and they sent us out to China. I went to China for 3 years.
Oh, you were in China for 3 years?
3 years, yes.
This is after you came back into the service, right?
Yes. I was in China for 3 years, and then when I come back to Camp Pendleton, and I met Billy.
And Billy was a young
yes,
Oceanside girl.
Yes, that's right. And one of my people worked for me out of Camp Pendleton come to me and said, Sarge, I've got my wife wants some stuff up in Hollywood, and they told me if I didn't pick it up today, it's Friday, they're going to throw it out.
This is a game show?
Yeah, she won a whole convertible load of stuff. And so I put him and his wife and his kid in my car and drove up to Hollywood, and this guy that ran a station up there said, if you will come up on the weekend, I'll take this stuff up 3 stories, but there's no elevator. But you'll have to come up in my office because I can't leave. He's, what do you call those guys that run the program on the weekends?
Mm-hmm.
He was there. So we went up there and went up 3 stories and carried all that junk down and put it in my car. Brought it back to Oceanside. And when I was helping the guy unload and everything, this pretty young girl come by to speak to the couple, and I met her that way, yes. And one thing led to another one.
Well, now, how did you happen? Now, Billy was very young when you got married.
Yes, she was. Well, I don't know why, but she was a very pretty girl and real nice. So at first, she was a friend of this couple that I was speaking of.
Uh-huh.
And a couple, 3 times, I took all of them out for a little spin. You know, you couldn't go in a place with a kid that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I took her out several times, and interesting person.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up marrying her.
I'll be darned. Well, now, you then got sent to Korea.
Sent to Korea for 9 months.
And you have the, I don't know whether it's I guess it is an honor that you are one of the chosen few, one of the
Yes,
frozen
we were
chosen
one of the
few.
Chinese trapped up in the reservoir.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a picture of you with a medical battalion here that was taken in Korea. You're down there in the middle somewhere. But you're on the second row, right there in the center.
Yeah, they assigned a
Skinny kid in the center.
Oh yeah, 140 pounds or so.
Now, as a result of your service to country in the Chosin Reservoir campaign, you received the Bronze Star.
Received a Bronze Star. When we broke out of the reservoir, we got in a roadblock, and that's where I got the Bronze Star.
There were a lot of Bronze Stars handed out, though.
Oh yeah.
In all fairness, there was a lot of the guys.
A lot of them, yeah.
Now, this is you receiving congratulations from one of your colonels?
I think so, yes. I think that was it.
Okay,
I think it was, yes.
Now, what happened after? Where were some of the duty stations you had after the Korean War?
Well, I was in Quantico for a while, in Camp Pendleton for a while, and in China for 3 years. That took up a lot of time, you know. After that.
What did you do in China?
Well, I ran mess halls and clubs.
I didn't realize we had any bases over there, though, at that time.
We had a division over there. And
This is on the mainland?
Yes.
This is before Mao took over?
We were up at the wall. I was in the Motor Transport Battalion, and we were right up at the Great Wall of China, and we could hear the artillery from the communists as they come down. So when they got down pretty close, we moved down to Tenzin. We stayed up there for a year, moved down to Tenzin for a year. Stayed in Tenzin for a year. When they moved down close there, we went to Tsingtao. We spent a year there, and we spent there until we left.
Uh-huh.
When we left, when the Marines pulled out there, the communists took over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a little piece of history that a lot of people either didn't know or forgotten about.
That's right.
Mm.
Well, there wasn't much said about it. We were just out there helping the country we thought was okay, and they were losing the war, and we weren't involved in it. So we just kept moving down. As the communists moved down, we'd move down.
Well, it was the nationalist troops, which were led by Chiang Kai-shek,
Right.
and he had been an ally during World War II. Well, of course, Mao had too. They had kind of smoked the peace pipe during World War II and kind of joined forces to fight the Japanese. But after World War II, all the fighting started again.
You know, I played golf in China every day for 3 years, except when it's too bad. I played 9 holes every day, 18 on Saturday, 18 on Sunday. And a lot of fun. That's all there was to do out there. You had a choice. You could either play golf, go to the club and drink beer, or stay in the barracks. So, when the place to go.
You still play golf?
Not now. I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. My shoulders cut me out of the golf game.
So, in 1961, you retired from the Marine Corps after 20 years?
Right.
And did you come right back here at Oceanside?
I came back to Oceanside. That's where No, when I come back from 62, I guess, I come back. Yeah, from China, I come back to Camp Pendleton.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Now, you became a businessman here in
Yes.
Oceanside, and that's kind of interesting. You told me that you were kind of set in your ways as a Marine.
Yeah.
Give me that again. Why did you decide to go into business for yourself?
Well, you know, being in the Marines, believe it or not, you get very independent if you work in wherever your scope is.
Uh-huh.
Nobody under is going to bother you. Nobody over is going to bother you if you do your job.
Uh-huh.
And you know what you're supposed to do. If you do it, you get very independent.
And you retired as a master sergeant?
Right.
And of course, they have a saying that the master sergeants in the Marines and the Navy chiefs in the Navy, they kind of run the place, right?
That's about it. Pretty well. I think the sergeant majors and lieutenant colonels run the Marine Corps. They make all the decisions they just carry out orders from up above, and they're the ones that pass the word on down.
Well, now,
Sergeant major gets it from a colonel, and he gets it down to the troops, and they do the job. Whatever.
you went into the carpet business in Oceanside when there was only just one or two other carpet.
There was only two, I think. It was Simon Phelps and Boyd's. Boyd's was just a little vinyl place, which still exists. I think here on Simon Phelps is long gone. Mm-hmm. My store's still here, Phillips Carpets.
Yeah. Your business is still known as Phillips Carpets.
Oh yes. Well, we were incorporated, so we sold a dummy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The dummy's the guy that owns it.
I'll tell Chuck that the next time I see him, or he might be watching this show right now.
Yeah.
What? So you were in business in Oceanside for how many years?
35.
So that was even a longer career than the Marine Corps.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it very much.
And you were quite active in the community. Still are, but I mean, you were president of the Rotary Club in what, 87, 88?
Yeah, that's right.
So we've got a picture of you here.
Yeah, and I was president of the Girls Club the same year.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, generally the president of Rotary generally ends up in the Boys Club.
Mm-hmm.
So I elected to go to the Girls Club instead because they didn't have anybody.
Uh-huh.
And so I went over with them instead of going to the Boys Club.
Well, now, at the same time, Billy had graduated from college and got her teaching degree. She taught for 30 years at
Yes.
Carlsbad.
Yes,
was
Carlsbad,
it
yes,
elementary or high school?
She taught junior high and high school.
Okay, and then she also helped you at the business.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the two of you worked in.
And she used to get out of school about 3 o'clock or so, and she'd come and work until 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then she'd go home and work till 10.
Well, in those early days, did you do the installing and the selling, or did you?
No, I didn't want to do that. I got somebody else to do that.
You'd been a Marine too long, huh?
That's right. I wanted
Marine sergeant.
That's right.
Well, we've got some other pictures here to show. Now, this is your wife, Billy, sitting beside. Gosh, I don't know who that guy is with the red suspenders, but
I think that's you.
that was on our cruise up to Alaska a couple of years ago.
Enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, that was a great trip.
You know, when we went out to that glacier,
Mm-hmm.
this lady was there in another group, and there was a big bar out there, and she wanted to take pictures of it, and she was falling down the hill trying to take pictures, and this guy was right behind her trying to get her to the back of the neck, keep her to that bar. He had a fish in his mouth. I think he would have.
Well, he probably thought she was going after the fish.
That's right.
Yeah.
Kind of dumb.
Now, this is a picture of you with some fellow veterans during the 4th of July.
We parade every 4th of July every year. The Chosin Few put their.
That's quite an active organization.
Yes, they very active throughout the whole country.
I would imagine that there's probably per capita more Chosin veterans here in the North County than probably anywhere else in the.
I imagine so. Yeah.
Or at least Marines,
Yes.
just because a lot of them are like yourself. You just stayed here after you retired from the Marine Corps.
Yeah. It was formed in Hawaii. Some young sergeant decided that we should have an organization. He started the Chosin Few. That's what it is.
Well, it's a great organization. I've had the privilege of speaking toward it, before it a couple of times, and
You know, up in North Korea, it got 35 below zero, and we were outside all the time, so that was pretty tough to go. So our motto,
35 below.
35 below.
But that wasn't the wind chill factor.
No,
was
that
even
was
colder than that one.
That's right.
It got down to 50, 60 below.
Oh yes, sure. Anyway, our motto is keep warm. So an organization is
Yeah, keep warm. Yeah,
keep warm. Yeah.
that's right. Now this other picture is you and Billy are quite the square dancers.
We were. I lost my hearing, so I can't square dance anymore. Any noise in the background, I'm in trouble. So,
Yeah.
So I had to quit about a year ago. I stayed in and taught square dancing for about a year after I quit dancing because the classes are quiet.
Well, what organizations are you involved in beside the Chosin View? And I know you and I go to Rotary every week. What other organizations?
Well, I'm a Shriner. Belong to Albar Shrine, Masons, and Scottish Rite.
Yeah.
And I belong to the Elks. Everybody else does too, just about.
How's the Elks Club doing?
Oh, so.
It seems to me like the Elks is a grand old organization that young people just haven't quite grasped toward, gravitated toward, and it's one of those things that doesn't seem to have any new blood coming in. Is it?
That's true, and almost the only one that's making out pretty good is Rotary, and most of the organizations have the same problem.
Do you find that service to communities has changed a lot since you entered back in '61?
I think so. What happened in the '60s, the kids didn't join anything then, so they didn't join. I think my son is a good man. He grew up and got a family and been married for 17 years or so. Never joined. He joined the bowling league once and belonged to the church, and that was all.
Yeah.
He'd make a good help, but they just didn't join. That was true with all of them. They didn't.
Yeah.
So that's where the shortage is. These people grew up in the '60s.
I know it's a constant battle to get people involved in the community, but you have been one. You and Billy are both Rotarians, both very committed to the community, and Oceanside, I know, has been your life for as long as I've known you, and way before that. But we have run out of time, Claude. We've enjoyed talking with you, and thank you for coming in and sharing your life with us.
It was nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
In fact, my age is nice to be in a place.
We've been talking with Claud Phillips, longtime businessman, retired Marine. I'm Tom Morrow, and we hope you've enjoyed this edition of Living Legacy. Join us again next time here on KOCT. This program is made possible through the generous underwriting grants of the North County Times, serving all of North County with complete local daily news coverage and internet services.